Good evening. Thank you for the organizer for giving me the opportunity. Respected Shashi Shekharji, that chairperson. I'm Dr. Rakesh Vij. I worked for petroleum sector for 40 years, for 4 decades, and from last 5 years, I'm working on renewable. Since morning, I'm of the view that it's a fact that fossil fuel will continue to play an important role in near future. As of now, what we are telling, 90% of the primary energy needs of India is from fossil fuel. Only 10% is from other than fossil fuel. The scenario will change. The energy transition is there. Scenario will change, but my view is that fossil fuel will continue to play an important role in near foreseeable future. But significant change will take place because of the renewable. What we have seen in last 1 decade for solar, same is happening for hydrogen. Since morning, we are listening green hydrogen, and it's a fact that none other than our Prime Minister told in the Independence Day that hydrogen mission for the country. That is a gear change strategy for the country. And I believe the things which are going on as of now in India, we will replicate what we have done in solar. Just now, Mr. Shashi Shekhar told us about the cost. When Prime Minister Modi has inaugurated in 2012 in Gujarat, the price of solar was 13 rupees. Just 1 decade old. And now you see what is solar as of now. So same thing will happen with the technology changes. The research is going on. I am at Pandit Deendayal Energy University. Along with me, 12 scientists are working on production of green hydrogen. And we are working on from saline water. That is water, coastal water in the Gujarat. So we are developing green hydrogen, and we got the breakthrough in this. And I will just share in coming 10 minutes that whether what Shashi Shekharji has told, whether this will happen or not. For a developing industrial economy, that electricity is a growing important energy carrier, but the electrification of all the energy services remains elusive. The industry process and the heavy transports are not very high energy density. Therefore, it cannot be delivered the electricity technologies in the near term. So therefore, hydrogen become a source for future fuel. Next. And in energy transition scenario, next. And in hydrogen, the reason is that fossil fuel, which composition is the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, whether it's a oil, gas, CNG, PNG, LNG, everything. But hydrogen produces the harmless water. So that is the properties of the hydrogen. That why hydrogen can be a future fuel or alternative fuel, because it has a chemical and chemistry properties. And it's an alternative to definitely the battery electric system for heavy transport when used in a EV and other things. Next. If you see of hydrogen economy, the global benefits of hydrogen economy is that energy demand is increasing 18%. Carbon dioxide, as in the morning we have listened that maximum carbon dioxide emission or the emission from transportation sector. So whether this hydrogen can be an alternative for transport sector for becoming the net zero, which we are talking, whether it's 30, 50 or 2017. It's a employment opportunities also in addition to the other things. It's a benefit of the hydrogen. It will give us the reduced import, as you have listened that 85% of the fossil fuel we are importing. It's a energy security of the country, as we are talking that our government policies are not for our self-sufficiency in hydrogen, but we want to become a hydrogen hub in the world, in the global scenario, and we want to transport or we want to export the hydrogen. It's definitely an indication of renewable energy or the hybrid energy, because once we are talking of a green hydrogen means we are splitting the water through photoelectric thing or for the catalyst. So we are using not electricity, we are using the solar energy. And decarbonizations of the different sectors, it will definitely help in emission, and whatever we want to, what is our mission for net zero, it will be a significant contributor in the future. And definitely it will address the climate change, which we are talking of because of its low carbon emission. Next. Hydrogen cost, we want that it should be $1 per kg. And it's a fact that as of now, it's not there. But the technology which are changing, whether we talk of a electrolyzer, or we talk of a fuel cell, or the development which is taking place, whether it's a alkaline or electroplating or the different polymer electrolyte membrane. So it's going on. Just 3 days back, on 20th of August, L&T has put up a plant in Hajira, 45 kg hydrogen plant, which is based on partly alkaline and partly polymer electron membranes, PEM. So the development is taking place, and because of this development, definitely the way we are going in the right direction, the country as a whole is going in the right direction, because the government policies are conducive for the research, the government policies are conducive for the investment, government policies are conducive for the investor. So once these policies are favorable, so there is no doubt that why we should not go, whatever we plan to achieve by 2030, the 5 million tons of hydrogen, that is our mission. As we have achieved 175 gigawatts in the solar, I think the same mission by 2030, or even we will achieve this mission before 2030. The vehicles, and these are the details, that if we are going for the hydrogen, although we will go in a slow manner, or it's a transition when we are talking of an energy transition, so it's a really transition. We are not going immediately. We are developing the technologies, and each technology will reduce the cost. Whether it's a electrolyzer development, whether it's a fuel cell development, whether it's the efficiency of these systems. So all this will reduce the cost of production of hydrogen. And if we can achieve $1 per kg or 60-70 rupees per kg, then we will be achieving what we have achieved in solar, or what we achieve in other things. Next. In transportation sector, for the business sector, this involves a connection between the business and their supplier, business and business itself, and business with the market itself. Because once you are developing a hydrogen, and the policies of the governments is that hydrogen can be transported from one place to another place, so there will be no restrictions in the state. So once, like hydrogen transportations is again a developing technologies, and technologies are being developed for transportation of this particular precious resource for the transportation. And for the household sector also, the transporter provide, people will go from the office, and the movement of the mobility of the people will be dependent on the hydrogen. And once it becomes a future fuel, so definitely what we want in a renewable things, we will achieve these things. And if you see the transportation investment for the intermediates and other things, so basically it depends upon the economic development of the country. And as you know that the GDP growth increasing, so based on the energy elasticity, the energy requirement will be there. So it will be a continuous demand for the energy, and once it's a net zero and the carbon emission is less, so there is no point that it will not develop. It will develop because the researchers are working in India or across the globe, and this will definitely reduce the cost of hydrogen. Next. Pollution in transport sector is the maximum, as we have seen in the morning, our Honorable Minister have told, 35% is through that. So if we can reduce that, it will be a significant contribution in achieving the net zero. Although our Honorable Prime Minister have told 2070, but definitely if we can reduce in one sector itself, the transportation sector, so the 35%, so it will be a big leapfrog for the net zero thing. And in international energy, India told that India transportation sector gives around 308 million ton of carbon dioxide, which is 13% of the total emitted carbon dioxide. So if we can change this scenario in near future, so definitely we will be achieving a net zero. India is the third largest emitter of carbon dioxide, followed by China and USA, because of our GDP growth, because of our populations and the other thing. And transportation sector is the second largest in the world and the third largest emitter of the carbon dioxide in India. The transportation sector can be able to reduce 1/10 of the pollution if the sector can be net zero. Next. Transportation sector play an important role in the shaping the economy of the country. As you know that most of the transportation sector, when we are talking whether we are using the metro, the rail, so we have seen some transitions. If you see in railway, Indian Railway itself, from the steam locomotive to diesel to electricity, and now maybe from hydrogen. So these energy transitions will take place, whether it's a railway or the road or the air or the water transport. So this hydrogen can replace all the transportation need, and ultimately the mobility will depend upon this. And once we are using, once a step towards the transportation sector in hydrogen will be a big step for the country as a whole for net zero emission. Next. Hydrogen generation, as you know, that there are various means, and when we are talking green hydrogen means we are not emitting any the carbon points and all that. And basically, when we are talking green hydrogen, it is we are generating this from renewable, from solar, etc. As I told you that we are working on whether it's a tap water or it's a saline water. So we have developed some of the technologies where saline water with the industrial waste can produce hydrogen. So these are some of the technology which we are taking patent for Indian patents we are taking. And once these are developed, we are going for a prototype and developing these along with the other government agencies. Hydrogen can be generated using various methods, but producing it without any carbon dioxide emission is definitely is a capital intensive. That's why when we are telling today, we are producing hydrogen with $3 to $4 per kg or around 300 rupees kg. But once it is through solar energy, definitely the cost can come down. The steam method, methane reforming, is the cheapest and commercially proven technology to produce hydrogen in a bulk and cheapest way as of now. But once we are going for the green hydrogen, and then definitely the other forms of hydrogen which we are presently producing in our refineries or in our fertilizer plants, whether it's a different type, as we will just see that whether it's a blue or the gray or the pink hydrogen. So we will replace all these with green hydrogen. Next. These are the various hydrogen, as early in the morning when our ministers were telling that VIBGYOR. So there is a green hydrogen, there is a yellow hydrogen, pink hydrogen. Pink is through nuclear, blue is through natural gas, turquoise, gray, and brown. So green using renewable energy, yellow using solar, and blue using natural gas reforming with carbon dioxide sequestration. So these are the various forms, and electrolysis is the basic unit for that. And ultimately, our target is the green hydrogen for the future. Next. Current techno-economics of green hydrogen in India, as I told you, that we are committed to reduce the emission intensity economic activity by 33 to 35%. The present cost is $320 to $340, which is around $4, and we want $1 1 kg. The new hydrogen policy from India government set to reduce prices by 50%, and you have seen that how the prices will go down from $10 to a lower price, and the cost of having a fuel cell vehicle for the transportation sector is still high, and less availability of the cars is again one hurdle for the use of hydrogen. Next. If you see the fuel cell, the development in fuel cell is also taking place, which will definitely help in the transportation sector. And once the technology development in the fuel cell will give us a big jump in using for the transportation sector. And fuel cells are the devices that convert chemical energy to electrical, and this process generation fuel cell emits water and heat as the byproduct fuel for the cell, and fuel cell can be utilized as the alternative source for the power generation to the existing fossil fuel technology. So this hydrogen can be stored, transported to required area for the electricity generation. Next. Fuel cell vehicles, again, we can, they are actually the target is to reduce the emissions from sector to meet a 2050 goal of 80% below the 2005 level, which presently level was there on the 2005. Next. A hydrogen mission has already been launched in India, as I have told, by none other than Prime Minister, and to help the government in making India a green hydrogen hub and to achieve the environment and climate related target, to help in meeting the target of the production. So that is the production target like we have kept for solar. So 5 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030, that is the mission. And I think the way we are going, we are just 7 years behind the mission. And the way things are going, the government sector, the private sector, everybody is working on hydrogen, and they have committed the investment because of the government policies. And the government policy, if government policy are conducive, investment will come, research will be there, the price will go down, and ultimately it will become a success. And to add in the development of related renewable energy capacity. Next. Government policies. To achieve, the government of India has drafted policy to reduce emission. So these are the 10 things which what do the green hydrogen and green ammonia manufacture get. So these are the 10 benefits which we get from producing green hydrogen and green ammonia. And World Energy Outlook of 2018 estimated that India's industrial and transport emission will rise from 37% in 17 to 50% in 2040 if we are not going to if we are going in the business as usual manner. Next. If you see the recent, in last 1 year, these are just I have taken from the newspaper. Adani committed $70 billion in hydrogen. ONGC along with ICT Mumbai acquired a US patent on hydrogen production method by multi-step copper chlorine thermochemical cycle. ONGC also signed a MOU with Greenco to pursue the opportunity in hydrogen ammonia. So these are the companies. And as you know, there is a saying that energy transition will be managed by energy people only. So they are the energy people. Oil companies, they are the energy people. NTPC, they are the energy people. IOC. So they will manage the energy transition because they have the money. And you know that these companies having the first quarter profit of ONGC is 15,000 crore. So they have the money to invest. And once there is a will, the government policy there, definitely Reliance in industry also given a big investment in this renewable energy. GAIL also a plan to have a 10 megawatt hydrogen production. Next.
Mr. Vij, please.
Last slide. And these are the few other companies. NTPC, First Green Hydrogen Microgrid Project, IOCL, Tata Motors, Oil India commissions a plant in Jorat recently. L&T commissions, as I have told you, recently in Hajira on 20th August itself, 4 days back. So these are the things which are going on. And with this, I think, next. With this, I will end my talk. And I believe that what Shashi Shekhar ji has asked, that we are going in the right direction, India as a whole, because of the conducive government policies and the participations of all the government companies and the private companies, and we will achieve the mission of achieving 5 million ton by 2030. Thank you.